Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Pat. And as I said earlier, I hope everyone is off to a good start to the new week. And after a few challenging weeks that we've had here on our campus, and I hope everybody's doing well and taking care of themselves and taking care of each other, which is such an important part of what we do here at Carolina. But after much planning and preparation, we are here today for the first History, Race, and a Way Forward Commission meeting of the new semester. This commission is vital, and your work will be an essential part of building our community together through studying our past, addressing the injustice, exclusion, and racism that's part of our campus's history. And I said that 4 years ago, whenever we initially charged the commission. And as we said at that time, our university can look forward and move forward if we confront the hard truths of our history and give voice to those who have at times been silenced. I originally charged this commission to explore, engage, and teach the university's history with race, to provide recommendations on how we as a university community must reckon with our past by focusing in 3 areas. If you remember, we talked about this, and I hope that we'll continue to do this. These 3 areas are first, research and curation; second, curriculum and teaching; and third, engagement with underrepresented communities across our region here. And so I ask you to do the following as we're gathering for the first time this semester, to build upon the work that this commission has done in the past, to educate students and help faculty teach that history, to convene forums and opportunities for dialogue and reflection on the university's relationship to race, culminating in a symposium and a report, to work with the consortium on universities studying slavery. It was a wonderful conference that was held here back in the spring, led by Jim and Pat, and thank you for the great work there. It was a wonderful opportunity to showcase the important work that we conduct here, but to learn from others who are doing important work in this area as well. To produce articles, interactive media, and other content to help us reckon with our past. To provide the entire campus with updates on the important work of the commission. So that's a long list. We're asking a lot, but I know this group will be effective and will continue to build upon the successes of the previous years. And I look forward to hearing recommendations for steps to take as we, as I said earlier, move our university forward. So again, thank you to each one of you for being here. Thanks to those who are returning, those who are joining us. And again, just to Jim and Pat for continuing your years of dedicated leadership on this effort. And I know that together we're going to continue to build on what's already been accomplished. So again, thank you, and I look forward to hearing more. I'm going to stay as long as I can here. I hope for as long as you'll have me here in this meeting. But at this point, I am going to turn it back over to Pat and Jim. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chancellor Guskowitz. And I just want to say, I know that I can say this on behalf of Jim as the co-chair of this commission. We are so grateful for your leadership in forming this commission and providing us with what has proven to be a very courageous charge. As we've said before, that we are committed to carrying forward that charge, and we appreciate your support and your affirmation of our work. So thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, we will turn now to some introductions, and I'm glad, Chancellor Guskowitz, that you'll be here to hear from some of our newer members and some returning members. And so we'll just go around with some quick introductions, go around the Zoom room, and first of all, I do want to acknowledge that we have Amy Grau here, who is the project manager and in the office of the chancellor. Thank you for being here, as well as Quentin Q. Bob, who is also in the chancellor's office and the communications office. Thank you for being here. And so now we'll just do some self-introductions, and I'll start with Professor Jules Dixon Green, who is one of our newer members. And if you would just say your name, your position, and your affiliation on campus, and then toss it to just anyone else in the Zoom room, and we'll just go whoever's go around the room in that way. Professor Green.
Thank you, Pat, for the warm welcome, and hello to everyone. Good afternoon on this beautiful Monday in Chapel Hill. I am Jules Dixon Green, and I am an alum and someone who has loved and cared about this university for a very long time, since I was an undergrad here. I was recruited 4 years ago to come back to Chapel Hill and join the faculty at the Hussman School. And I'm proud to say now I'm the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies here at the school. And it's my pleasure, Pat and Jim, to be on your team and help do whatever I can do to keep the needle moving forward.
And you can just toss it to whoever you see on your screen next, or, yep.
Okay, I will, not knowing who's new and who's not, I'll toss it to Jada Brooks. Hi, Jada.
Hi, thank you for that introduction and welcome. And my name is Jada Brooks. I'm an associate professor in the School of Nursing at UNC and also an alumni. I also serve in the lead faculty position in the School of Nursing, have an adjunct appointment in the Environmental Sciences and Engineering Department, and I'm also an enrolled member of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. And I'll pass it over to Blair Kelly.
Hi everyone. My name is Blair Kelly. I'm the Joel R. Williamson Distinguished Professor of Southern Studies and American Studies, as well as I currently serve as the director for the Center for the Study of the American South. I technically started at UNC in January, but I was on sabbatical at the National Humanities Center until this summer. And so I'm thrilled to be joining this commission under the leadership of Pat and Jim. Thanks so much for having me. Let me pass it to Ron.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Ron Manigo-Bryant. I'm the director of the Sonia Stone Center for Black Culture and History, and I'm a professor in African American Diaspora Studies. And good to be here. I also started at the same time as Blair. So I will pass it to Marissa and Danielle.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Marissa and I are joining from the American Indian Center's conference room, so you'll get both of us at the same time. My name is Danielle Geraldo, and I serve as the director of the American Indian Center. I'm Lumbee and Puerto Rican on my dad's side, and I'll turn it over to Marissa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Carney. I'm the associate director at the American Indian Center. I started in June. I'm also a PhD candidate here at UNC, specializing in American Indian and Indigenous Studies, and I'm a citizen of the United Nation of Wisconsin. I'm going to pass it to my new friend that I made at the symposium in the spring, Simona. It's good to see you.
It's so good to see you. It's so good to see everyone. I'm Simona Golden. I'm a research associate professor in public policy. I come from 20 years in a school of education, and all my work has to do with what I and my colleagues call racially just systemic teaching. And I was so lucky to be on the commission, the last version of the commission, and I'm just filled with so much excitement to get to know all of the new people who are here and to just even begin to imagine the ways in which we can make some actionable change and vision and dream together. And I'm going to pass to Victoria Bryant, who I don't know yet, but I'm excited to get to know.
Hi, my name is Victoria Bryant, and I'm a Chancellor's Fellow in the Office of the Chancellor this year with an education in public policy and political science. And so I'm excited to be here and learn from you all. And I'm going to pass it to Joanne.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joanne Obiyama. My major is psychology, public policy, and I have a minor in social economic justice. I'm currently a junior. I am currently the president of the Black Student Movement. I appreciate letting students have a say in what's going on, and I definitely appreciate being a part of this, and I will pass it to Leah.
Hi everyone, my name is Talia, but you all can call me Leah as well. And I am a junior political science major with a double major in philosophy. I'm also the Residence Hall Association president, and I'm just so excited to be here today to hopefully make Carolina feel more like home for other students as well. And I'm going to pass it to Courtney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney. I am a current student at the university, majoring in political science and medical anthropology. And currently I serve on the Residence Hall Renaming Committee. And I'm just so happy to be able to be a part of this commission with everyone and just kind of sit together and kind of dream about ways that we can make this university more inclusive. And I would like to pass it to Quentin.
Hello, my name is Quinn Bob. Introduction given, and I'm the communications manager in the Office of the Chancellor. I'll be assisting with Amy Grau. And I'll pass it to Chloe.
Thanks, Q. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Liparini. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Education, Community Engagement, and Belonging in the University Office for Diversity and Inclusion, and really excited to get to know some of you, be with old friends, make new connections, and really excited about the fact that this is such an action-oriented commission. So really just honored to be here with all of you and learn and move our agenda forward. So thank you so much. Antoine.
Hi, good to see you guys. Glad to be joining you. I'm Antoine Hunter. I'm a second-year faculty member in the Department of History. Very excited to join you and continue some of this work. Thank you.
Nick, I think you may be the last person left.
Am I? All right. Thanks, Pat. My name is Nicholas Graham. I'm the University Archivist in Wilson Special Collections Library. In our department, we're committed to collecting and supporting research and teaching campus history, especially a accurate and inclusive and accountable history of UNC. And so I'm thrilled to be able to continuing this work with all of you and look forward to collaborating.
Well, great. Thanks, Nick. Wow, what a team. It really is. It's been a privilege to serve with those of you who've been on the commission, and Pat and I both are so looking forward to working with and getting to know better all of you who are joining this wonderful group of colleagues. I'm going to ask Amy to just put a couple of slides on the screen.
Jim, sorry. Point of order.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you need to do the minutes.
We need to do the minutes. But well said. We're very glad to have everyone there. So we are a commission and we do have business to do. And one thing that I want us to do is you had a chance, hopefully you had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out with the agenda, I think with the calendar invitation earlier. Our last meeting was May 8th, and I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes into the record.
I move to accept. I believe I was at that meeting.
All right. Thank you, Nick. I saw you move, and Simona, will you second? I saw your hand too.
I second, yes.
And you second. All right. So moved and second. So we have those minutes approved. So now, Jim, take it away to our next.
Okay, great.
To get it started. And Chancellor Guskowitz, you can stay as long as you like. We're happy to have you. But we are going to start talking about the meat of our work here.
Well, just two quick slides here. We really want to keep you on the screen as much as possible so we can see and get to know each other. But just again, to remind you of our charge, this is the short version of the Chancellor's charge to us 3 years ago. And Amy, if you'll share the next slide. We wanted to devote most of our time today to bringing new members up to speed on some of the ongoing projects that the Commission has been involved with. And so you'll see 5 of them here. And I'll ask you just to kind of commit them to memory. And then Amy, if you'll take the slide down, Pat and I will give you an update on where each of these project stands at the moment. We have a lot of words for you today. We usually try not to do this. So let me encourage you, in fact, if you have questions along the way, please raise a hand, use the reactions, wave to us in the camera, and bring those questions to the table as we're moving through this update on the Commission's ongoing work. So Pat, back to you. Well, and let me just say at the beginning here, that in doing this work, as an extension of the charge, we have sought in everything we've done to engage in broad partnership and collaboration with the local descendant community and with a range of campus stakeholders, faculty and staff, students and alumni. And those, of course, are commitments and principles that we want to keep alive as we continue this work and extend it into new projects. And as you're hearing about the work, especially those of you who are new, Pat and I would ask that you think about one or more of these projects that you would like to be more involved with. Of course, you'll have a role in all of them, but if there or one or two that particularly catch your interest, we hope you'll follow up with us after the meeting and let us know that. So Pat, over to you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I've asked Victoria, but maybe Amy or if folks want to, if we would have the list of those projects in the chat, just if you want to have those handy, but we'll try to signpost and be very direct. And let me just add also that the Chancellor gave a nice, Kevin gave a nice overview of, some of our dreams at the beginning of the Commission's work 3 years ago. And we've done quite a bit of that. I think toward the end of our conversation today, we're going to talk about, ways of sustaining this. But the first 2 projects on our list, the Barbie Cemetery and the Unsung Founders Memorial, to start with those 2. Those are 2 projects that are related to this sacred work of memorialization. Much of our work is about memory and whose memories are told and how those memories are told and how those histories are told. And so these 2 projects give us this opportunity to reckon with those kinds of questions. The Barbie Cemetery, just to give you an update on this is a well, it really is something that we've started back in 1996. There was an archaeological assessment that was conducted then, and this is a site that is near the Rizzo Center, which is of course part of the university. It's where the Keenan Flagler Business School's Management Education, Executive Education Center is a beautiful site there. If you've not been there, I encourage you to go there. But the cemetery is located on those grounds, and it is where a recent penetrating ground penetrating radar survey, GPR survey, indicated that as many as 120 enslaved people are buried there at the Barbie Cemetery. And this is a burial ground that is, as I said, located there at that site on the Metamont. on the east side of Chapel Hill. And for many years, the members of the local descendant community, their university employees who work at the Rizzo Center and leaders at the Keenan Flagler Business School have expressed concerns about the current curation of that cemetery. And this is a property that seems, has been minimally maintained, and it's marked only by signs that eulogize the white Barbie family. So the Barbie name is, originates with a white family that enslaved people, men, women, and children. And the men, women, and children took on those names, and some of them are buried there. And so we've formed a partnership in keeping with our approach that this is sacred work, and this is an opportunity. As one of our stakeholders said recently when we were meeting with the descendants of Black people whose last names are Barbie, that this is an opportunity to tell the story of the university from the voices of people who have been silenced, literally. And so we've been doing that. Part of that sacred work is just holding space for people to talk about those histories. The Barbie family is very active in doing descendant work on both many strands of their family, including the Barbie cemetery. So just a very engaged set of people who are doing this work that are the Barbie descendants, as well as members of the Keenan Flagler Business School and the faculty and the staff who are there. I mean, people want to engage with this work and to have these stories told, and to reckon with that history and think about how we move forward, and how it heals us and sustains us, and what it says about us as a community. So this is the work that we're doing there. And we invite members of the committee to engage with us as we carry that on. The second project that I want to talk about is the Unsung Founders Memorial. This is the gift from the class of 2002 that was the memorial that was dedicated in 2005. And, from the beginning, this is something that has been somewhat controversial. Not in the courageous work of the students, that class, who was prescient in their vision to say, we want to have our gift, something that is so much a part of a ritual of this university, a class gift, and to have these students in 2002, this was before universities were talking about memorializing the enslaved and the founders of universities, to have their gift to honor that sacred cause. And so, but from the beginning, it was controversial because members of the local Black descendant community expressed concerns that they weren't included in that process, in the conversations of the memorial's design, and the appropriate ways to recognize those contributions, the contributions of their forebearers. And there are some stakeholders who've taken some offense at the diminutive stature of the bronze figure. So these are all things that that have been in the conversation in those histories and those years of the history, the 20 or so years since the memorial was erected on campus. And so in October of 2021, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the commission organized an online webinar because we wanted to have that conversation, and we brought together members of the local descendant community, representatives of the class of 2002, Byron Wilson, who's been a wonderful partner in this conversation and is very grateful to be engaged in these conversation, as he had been the vice president of the class. and one of the architects of the idea to do the memorial. And we had many university stakeholders who were there to discuss the memorial's origins, the controversies around its design, and where it's situated and so forth. And so that is an ongoing conversation. And so with both the Barbie Cemetery and the Unsung Founders Memorial, the commission is in a process of selecting a landscape design firm to assist in determining the future disposition of these two sites of memorialization. And just to be clear about this, part of our process is to engage with an architect, a landscape architect, who has experience working with descendant community members. This is something that is taken off nationally and internationally. People are doing incredible work. So it's not about just deciding on how we're going to alter some of these spaces, but really, what is that process of having multiple voices telling the story, and in the process, having some reckoning work along the way. And so that is, we're gathering, we have a selection committee that's going to be working with the university architect to look at some of these, some firms that help us with that, with these questions of how should the university honor the enslaved laborers and their descendants who built and have sustained the university, and secondly, how and in what form the class gift and the cemetery fits into that vision. So with that, I think I'll stop to see if there are any questions. I think we were took a lot to talk about those two projects. They really are two projects that really embed this commitment to working with descendant communities. Jim, I wonder if it's okay to have questions now, or should we were going to go through all the projects and then have questions, but I don't know if folks have questions now.
Pat, this is Kevin here, if I may. I'm curious, is the commission looking for the same landscape architect for both projects, or are these two independent projects? And how can I be of help? Because I know that this seems like this has been going on for quite a while, and I know that we'd love to get that. As you know, I've been passionate about moving the Unsung Founders Memorial to a more prominent place, in a safer place, if we may just be honest. That is more perhaps on the Polk Place side of the South Building, and where it'll have a prominent place. Maybe, we have a few options that we've been considering, and because it's become a flashpoint, as you know, at times, which has really been sad, because I do not want to have to put fencing around it again. So how can I be of help in our facilities team in moving this forward? I guess I asked two questions, but one, is two separate architects or not, and how can I be of help to move this forward?
Well, the facilities team, Evan Yaske in particular, has been stellar in this process, and we've relied on his guidance and his professional expertise. So to answer your question, there will just be one landscape architect, but and Jim, you can jump in here at some point, but we went through a process, and Evan was very helpful in that, in doing sort of because it's such a, in one regard, it's a very small area of expertise. So people who are working on public memorialization and who also have this expertise in working with descendant communities, and then actually doing the landscape architect. So it's a very specialized, which is why we didn't have do a call. But there are people who have experts that have guided Evan and his team to consult with us. At this point, Kevin, we think it's been 20 years, and we just want to get it right. Sure. And so we're taking our time to make sure that the descendant, as many community voices as possible, can be involved in what goes what comes next. And it may, in this short term, I mean, there may still be this flashpoint and so forth, but we feel that the kind of reckoning work and engagement work that we're doing buys us a little more time, that we can do this in a way that we think honors what the community wanted from the beginning. So, Jim, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, I just said, you know, as Pat said, Kevin Evans been just fabulous on this. And there is, in fact, a request for qualifications, a request for proposals and we have a short list of architects. We've worked with a variety of colleagues here and elsewhere around the country, and also the local descendant community. So that's all teed up. In fact, I think we have a meeting, Pat and I have a meeting next week with Evan to get the selection process moving. So we should be, you know, in a place before the end of the semester, surely, to have received proposals from architectural firms and being in a position to make a selection and get this moving.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I think we're in pretty good shape there in terms of just some of the practical hurdles. Any other questions around those two projects, those two related projects?
Jim, this might be an opportunity. I wanted to mention it earlier, but I was remiss in saying that we have two members of the commission who were not able to join us today, who are members of the community, who've been stalwart leaders on this, and that's Dolores Bailey and Danita Mason Hogan. And so in their absence, we just want to thank them for their contributions to that process and guiding us in that.
All right. Well,
Can I ask a quick question about what are the concerns around the burial ground beyond maintenance, memorialization, trying to do research on the people who are there? What are the thoughts about what's possible in that space?
Yeah, that precisely. I mean, the one of the things that the Barbie descendant community has asked for is support with the genealogist that helps to do some of that work. As you mentioned, we have interest in oral histories. And so that's work to be done. I will say that part of the challenge has been the historical relationship for centuries. So it doesn't give us a pass right now, but it's been there in terms of the university community engagement process. And so that's one of the reasons that, you know, this process has taken a little bit longer, because we're taking our time to cultivate those relationships. But you're spot on, Blair, in terms of the desire. It's not just about putting some signs up and having some and making sure, and of course those things are important, but it also is this process of telling the fuller history of that site and this university.
And Blair, I just maybe for, again, people who are new, who maybe don't know the history here, Christopher Barbie was the end of the 18th century largest landholder in Orange County, and made the largest land donation to the university. So there is an opportunity, you know, as Pat said, to help with the genealogical research, to do additional research on the Barbies and their role of the enslaved population there in the building and sustaining of the university. You know, this has great promise as a teaching site. If you go out there now, the only signs that are there refer to the white Barbies. Even though the signs tell you that as many as 120 people are buried there, they leave you wondering who the others are. This is also an opportunity to teach not only the history of enslavement and the contributions of those enslaved men and women to the life of this institution, but also to teach the history of indigenous dispossession, which is another important part of our work. So there's just great potential in that site, and it is one of the front doors to the university. So a really important place to begin, as Pat said, sharing and teaching a full, incomplete, and more inclusive story about this institution.
Can I jump in? Can I say one thing about? Yeah, just I so appreciate the sets of things that were just laid out as possibilities, and you know, really thinking carefully about repair. I also want to say that there are a number of process level things that we can't see in what we just named, but that as a commission member who's coming back on, I want to name that the processes of engaging in ways that are deeply respectful and reverential to and with descendant populations is another thing that I think the commission is working on and is working on getting better at and modeling. And so that's a little bit it's a little bit hidden in the ways that we talked about all of this. And it's really critical and I think noteworthy and quite different from how things have been done in the past. So one of the reasons why things are taking time is because they kind of have to take time, given all the trust that's been broken and the ways in which partnering is about trust building. So I just want to name that is one of the things that I see as a great product of the commission, and a real invention of collaboration with each other and with the community.
Thank you for that, Simona. And again, you know, those concerns and those themes run throughout our work. Well, let's turn to if you go back to the list in the chat, the third project there, Names on the Landscape. Again, this is really a project in two parts. The first part began back in the summer of 2020, when the commission conducted research and prepared a report that informed the trustees' decision that summer to remove the names of 4 individuals from campus buildings: Charles Aycock, Josephus Daniels, Thomas Ruffin Sr., and Julian Carr. And we will, for those of you new in the commission, we can forward those materials to you so you can kind of catch up on the details there. Those 4 names were removed, and 2 of the buildings were subsequently renamed. What had been Aycock's Residence Hall is now Hortense McClinton Residence Hall, and what was the Julian Carr building is now the Henry Owl building. Those renamings were really profound moments, I think, in the modern history of this university. Hortense McClinton was the first Black tenure line member of the faculty at Carolina. She joined the faculty in the School of Social Work in 1966. Henry Owl was the first American Indian and first person of color admitted to the university. He earned a master's degree in history in 1929. For those of you who are here for the renamings, I think we will all remember, especially the ceremony that involved Hortense McClinton, who is now 104 years old, and is as sharp as any of us on this screen. And it was really just wonderful, gratifying to be able to conduct that renaming while Hortense McClinton is here, to know what we have done. About 9 months later, in April 2021, the commission submitted dossiers in support of a recommendation for the removal of another 10 names from campus buildings. And in accordance with the trustees' policy on name removal, Chancellor Guskowitz appointed an ad hoc committee to review the committee's recommendations. That work took place over the span of nearly 12 months, from October of 2021 to September of 2022. And again, we can send you links if you'd like to watch any of those proceedings. I have to say, I've been in this university for a long time. I have never seen a committee work quite so hard and with such dedication as that group of our colleagues who reviewed those recommendations. And their report is now with the chancellor pending further action. On a related front, we've also been working in the university archive to document the contributions and where possible, the names of enslaved artisans and laborers who built and sustained the university in the antebellum era, in the pre-Civil War era. Nick Graham and his colleagues in the University Archive have made just extraordinary contributions to this work. And I have a group of undergraduate students working in a seminar this semester to transcribe key documents so that they can be made more broadly available to audiences on campus, in the descending community, and beyond. What we're doing here is working to make visible an aspect of the university's past that has until now really effectively been hidden in plain sight, but hidden nevertheless. We're working, Kevin, if I can pick up on some of your words, we're working to restore to our sense of the history of this university a part of that tale that has been effectively silenced for far too long. And here, I credit to Nick and also to colleagues in the archives who predate Nick, who as early as 2005, around the dedication of the Unsung Founders Memorial, began this work. And I will say, in talking with students in my class and other students, there's great eagerness to have this material available. And we plan to develop together some opportunities for new educational signage and other forms of outreach to really elevate these stories as part of our historical narrative. The fourth project on your list is a statement on Indigenous dispossession and sovereignty. And this has been a priority for the Commission from the very beginning of our work. In fact, it was a topic, Pat, I think it was the second, maybe the third meeting of the Commission. Greg Richardson, who is Executive Director of the North Carolina Commission on Indian Affairs, joined us at one of our meetings to talk about this aspect of our work. And since that time, we've created several drafts of a statement. We've discussed them with key campus stakeholders, including the staff of the American Indian Center, the Carolina Indian Circle, and the First Nations Graduate Council. And over the summer, Danielle Geraldo, who had just joined us, as all of you know, director of the American Indian Center and is a member of this commission, Danielle advanced that work and advanced it significantly by revisiting this project with those stakeholders and with our colleagues in American Indian and Indigenous Studies. They gave us wonderful feedback, and again, we'll want to share that material with you. It's going to be invaluable as we work to finalize a statement that we hope will be adopted by the university and can be used uniformly by other offices and programs and parts of our campus community in their public exercises. The feedback also reminds us of something that, again, we called out at the very beginning, and that is an understanding that a statement of this sort is not an end unto itself, that this statement is really a starting point for work to ensure adequate resources for American Indian Studies here on campus, a starting point for more effective university engagement with American Indian communities, and also, of course, a reckoning with the university's role in violent histories of dispossession. There's a lot of really important historical research to be done here around that topic that involves not only the land that we occupy today, but also land in Western North Carolina and East Tennessee, where the university promoted and profited handsomely from the forceful removal of many members of the Cherokee and Chickasaw communities there. In fact, a major building project in the 1820s here that those enslaved laborers were so much a part of, that was all funded by the proceeds from dispossession in Western North Carolina, what's now Eastern Tennessee. So I guess we'll stop here again for questions if folks have questions, and then Pat can wrap up with the last project.
Just a point of clarification. So this finalized statement will be the university's official public-facing sort of land acknowledgement. Is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, so that's the that's the objective we've had in mind throughout this work. I mean, a number of units across the campus have adopted statements of their own. We don't necessarily want to displace those, but do think it's very important for the university to adopt something centrally that all of us can use and refer to.
I think it's very powerful and important, the interlacing of the stories of the enslaved laborers along with profiting from land and the sale of land and dispossession as going hand in hand, because so often we're thinking of those things as separate processes. So I would love to see as we work on creating those narratives to interweave them as you've so laid out really beautifully.
Yeah, we have an opportunity to make an important scholarly contribution here. Because if you just kind of think about the ways that we teach these topics to undergraduates, more often than not, they are taught as if they are entirely separate stories.
Jim, I would echo that. I think that's one of the things we've done really well, and perhaps better than some of our peer institutions, in the way that we've brought this important work into the curriculum, and whether it's through the SLATE initiative that Carla Slocum and others have been leading, or in other ways. And I think this is really important. But and I've even brought it into my class as Pat knows, because she came to speak last year. Actually, Jim, you did as well, and at least, if not maybe multiple times, but my American Professoriate class for aspiring academics. These are 3rd to 5th year PhD students, so preparing them for the academy. But I am going to have to jump off to get into a 4:30 meeting here. But thanks so much for all you're doing, and I've enjoyed getting some updates on this. And just let me know how I can be of help.
Right.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Come back anytime.
Thank you.
Talia, did you have a question?
Yes, just us talking about the Barbie Cemetery kind of had me thinking about the old Chapel Hill Cemetery, and then namely how a lot of the people buried there, namely former enslaved people. I just feel like the cemetery kind of, to put it in nicer words, it just looks a mess. And I know in my experience as a junior, I've definitely looked into opportunities for revamping the area, beautifying the area, just making the area someplace that hopefully the people there can rest in peace, not in what they're resting in now, which just looks like kind of squalor. So I did want to inquire about that and see if I know the Old Chapel Hill Cemetery is owned, I think, and managed by Chapel Hill itself. But I did want to know if we could possibly have an impact on that, or at least beautifying the area itself.
Leah, thank you so much. I was remiss for not including that in my overview earlier. So not just certainly Old Chapel Hill Cemetery, but there's also There's the Barbie Hargrave Cemetery, there's the James Mason Cemetery, and the Mason and Morgan Family Cemetery. So all of those are on our sites, and there's actually an organization, the Black Cemeteries Collective, that we've been in touch with, that we want to think about doing some of that work with. So absolutely, that's on in our sites, both spellings of those words. And we will, and thank you for bringing that back to our attention.
I think we have an opportunity to do some work at the Barbie Cemetery that could be a model for these other spaces.
All right. So we have about 7 minutes left, and I'm always just cognizant of our time. So we've got one more project, and then we want to give you some just a quick update on where we, some sustainability implementation work that we want you to be involved in. Before I do want to welcome Jasmel Perez, who joined us after the introductions, and Jasmel is on staff, one of the wonderful staff members. We have a beautiful diversity of backgrounds, staff, graduate students, undergraduates, faculty, and so just so grateful for all of that, for all of you. The last project is Equity in Schooling, which is inclusive of the Community Book Club, a wonderful community book club. And so let me just say that the Equity in Schooling initiative has been led by our commission members, Simona Golden and Danita Mason-Hogans. And they are following, sort of really leaning into this understanding that, research has shown that the legacies of slavery and indigenous land disposition have historical impacts on communities. That's not news. But these impacts are, of course, in the surrounding community, and that should be served by the university, especially a public university. And these impacts are manifested in current inequities in schooling. Chapel Hill Carver schools have the second largest racial achievement gap in the nation. And so in the commission's view, the university should be, this is part of what we're doing, this reckoning work, and we should be one of the leading voices in illuminating that gap and creating more equitable futures and opportunities. And so that's the initiative that Simona and Danita have taken on, and they have begun these multi-stakeholder dialogues as a foundational approach to repair in the process of reckoning with race. And so in the winter and spring of this past year, the commission, led by Danita and Simona, with Bridging the Gap, the many organizations, Flyleaf Books, especially Chapel Hill Public Library, supported a community reading conversation that centered on William Darity and Kristen Mullen's book, From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st Century. And that was just a wonderful series of conversation that brought out all the people that you would want to have at that kind of conversation. And you can read more about it. We've posted some of it on our website. But that's just another way that we're leaning into this community engaged approach to this work. So with that, I do want to, we just have a few minutes left, want to go ahead and transition us if we could, and we want to leave just maybe a couple of minutes, and obviously open to folks staying a little bit longer if we could, but I'm going to transition us to just the last item of our agenda, and that's implementation and sustainability. And basically, we need to disseminate this work. We've been doing a lot of work in 3 years. It's kind of come up in this conversation. So we need to come up with some creative strategies for making the work of the commission more widely known and accessible, either through programming or course development support, social media, installation of educational signage and so forth. So hopefully you see yourself in that hope of vision of what's coming in the future. And Jim, you want to talk about institutionalization as another part of sustainability?
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I mean, yeah, we do need your creativity and your energy. I worry sometimes that we may be one of the better kept secrets on campus. So it really is important to make this work as available, widely available as possible and accessible. The other kind of long-term goal, or well, we have 2 years, so maybe it's not such a long term, but the other kind of overarching goal is to begin thinking about strategies for institutionalizing this work. And this is an issue and a concern and an objective we've had on our minds from the very beginning. I don't think any of us undertook this work just to see it end when the commission dissolved. So how do we carry this work on, institutionalize it in a way that it becomes a living part of the daily life of the campus? A number of ideas have been floated, and I'm sure we'll have others, but to create a position of university historian who would be responsible for carrying this work on. There's a Chancellor's Advisory Committee on naming university facilities. There's this provision now in the trustees policy on renaming to, from time to time, appoint a similar committee. Pat and I have had conversations with Kevin and would love to continue with you about creating perhaps something like a formal Chancellor's Advisory Committee on sites of conscience on our campus. So all of that just to, I hope, get the wheels spinning and thinking about some longer term objectives that we hope will outlive the commission itself. At that point, I think we have exhausted all of our time and more, but do want to, and we promise not to talk at you quite so much, or
Next time,
not
yeah.
nearly so much in other meetings. But if folks have other questions, suggestions, observations they want to share.
Antoine, please.
Just a quick point of clarification. Is the Barbie Cemetery and the Barbie Hargrave Cemetery are two separate cemeteries?
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I got confused. I was trying to research a little bit. I get the Barbie Hargrave Cemetery. Where is the Barbie Cemetery?
It's in Metamont. So if you know that part, that business school campus there, the Rizzo Center is there, the conference center. There's quite a grand house at the center of property of the DeBose house. And then the Barbie Cemetery is located behind the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's quite a large space. So in that sense, it's really a wonderful and kind of promising palette on which to do some creative work.
There's a question in the chat here from Chloe. Have there been conversations with the folks at William and Mary about the Lemon Project? There are some similar goals and objectives. We try to do quite a bit of benchmarking. You want to say more, Chloe, about what you find interesting about the Lemon Project?
Yeah, I'll be very honest. I'm not directly involved, but my colleague Ari Weinbaum was very involved in that project when they were there, and and because of that, I've looked at some of their work over the last few years, and so I mean anything from genealogy to community engagement and dialogic experiences. There's just interesting synergy, and because they have a connection, if there hadn't been, maybe we could get an introduction just for some peer sharing. I think would be interesting. Obviously it's a different context, but as you all were sort of unpacking some of the work moving forward, it made me think that it might be worth having a conversation if one hadn't happened.
Yeah, it's something we could certainly share with the commission as a group. Some of us kind of before the commission, been involved in the organization's universities studying slavery and have had some connections, over time with the Lemon Project and others. But I think that's a great suggestion If you don't know Universities Studying Slavery, it is a consortium of institutions like ours that are, doing this kind of work. There are, at this point, a little over 100 institutions of higher education, colleges and universities, not only here in the US, but elsewhere, primarily in Europe and Latin America, who are doing this work. That was the conference we hosted here last March. It's a little late now, though you might squeak in under the wire. I think that today is the last day for hotel room reservations, but the USS meets twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. The fall conference for the first time will be outside the United States. It's going to be in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's scheduled for October 18th to 21st. So if you're interested, just Google USS Halifax conference and you'll find it easily. I don't know where the spring conference will be, but that'll certainly be information, we'll be sharing with you and making sure you have with lots of advance notice.
So I want to be
But
cognizant
it's
of
a
our
great
time.
place to go and have that, sort of sharing of information and best practices and so on.
It is. So I want us to be cognizant of our time. Watch your emails for a follow-up to this meeting. You may be invited to see where you might fit in, but let's go ahead, Amy, if it's okay, I'm going to call for adjournment. I'm not sure what the protocol is, but I think I'm going to take executive privilege and say this meeting has been adjourned because this is our first meeting and we want to be cognizant of your time and so grateful that everyone can come. So we can stop the live streaming and if that's okay. Yeah. And just let us know, Amy, when we are not live.